Okay, so today our guest speaker is going to be Liz Molina. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about him. So he completed an undergraduate degree in business with a focus in marketing at Whittier College, and he completed his master's in business administration at CSUF. And he has experience in working with disadvantaged youth, and now he works as the advising manager for the Office of Graduate Studies at CSUF, focusing on advising underrepresented graduate students.
All right, let's go. So how's everybody doing?
Good.
Tired. Same.
From walking, from
Same.
structure.
So there's been a few changes since almost a year, Jeanette, something like that.
Yeah.
Since then, I think I moved on to the project manager for this grant, and actually Jeanette's doing the advising now. She's been doing it for a year. So Jeanette's the advising coordinator, and we are from a federally funded grant. So a 5-year grant in our last year, sadly, right? 2.5 million. Again, this is a federal grant from the U.S. Department of Education. So we're on federal money, right? That's who's paying our salaries. So basically, we don't have to follow any rules. Right? We can do whatever we want. We actually have to provide a lot of documentation as far as what we're doing and how we're doing it and whether it's, good or not. But with that being said, and then Jeanette Hernandez, advising coordinator, her being introduced, I think all of you guys did your undergrad at Cal State Fullerton, right? All of you, but not all of you are coming here for grad school. Yes, well, you are, but not you're not. Okay. So, if you guys could let me know name, right? That's quick. Name, program you were going to, and what school. Okay, we can start here.
My name is Julie. I'm going to Master's of Public Health at Cal State. My name is Jeanette Fuentes, and I will be going to the Master's of Public Health as well here at Cal State.
My name is Ryan. I'm going to the MSW program at Long Beach.
My name is Daniela, and I'm going to the
My name is Alex. I'm going here for the Master's of Counseling program.
Hi, my name is Oksana, and I'm going to do my Public Health Master's here.
Hi, my name is Rwanda Carter, and I'm doing my Master's of Social Work here at Cal State Fullerton.
I'm Janet Ramirez. I'm doing my Master's at UC Davis. Our Master's in Public Health.
My name is Anaí, and I'm doing Master's of Social Work at Long Beach.
My name is Paulina Della Mora. I'm doing my Master's of Social Work at here.
My
My name is Angelica, and I'm doing my Master's of Social Work at Long Beach.
Hello, my name is Cecilia Bosch, and I'm doing a Master of Counseling.
I think I've seen you before, huh?
Yes.
Something, yeah.
My name is Neil Carter. I'm doing my Master's in Health Informatics at St. John.
My name is Kate Nguyen, and I'm doing the speed language pathology master program here.
Here, Dr. Tsao.
My name is Diana Chen, and I'm doing my Master's in Communication Science and Disorders here.
Hi, my name is Brittany. I'm doing my Master's of Public Health at San Francisco State.
Wow.
Oh, so you have some going up north.
Up
Like,
north.
yeah, Humboldt
Last year
going up
too,
north.
last year someone was going to Humboldt.
That's part of the summer.
Yeah. So we come here for every summer. I think we've come and presented this for the past 3 years, or this is the 3rd year. It's always nice to see you guys and and informing you guys of resources that you definitely should take advantage. If you're coming here, then this is going to apply more to you. If you're not coming here, just be aware that these resources are at other schools, right? So not just here. We're not going to say we're the only school that offers this. But these are examples of what's going on here. If you're going elsewhere, like I said, we're federally funded. Other schools also have grants like these. So definitely look into it. Check with their Office of Grad Studies, which we work with in conjunction with. They're kind of the ones that are taking over because the goal of these federal grants is to offer assistance for this one particularly to underrepresented populations, right? Services, scholarships, things like that. See what's successful, and eventually have the university say, well, that was really good, right? That's why we have to evaluate ourselves all the time, surveys and things like that. And the university, with the attempt, for them to institutionalize these activities. So unfortunately for this year, we're in their 5th year, we're kind of winding down. A lot of the resources, services, and the scholarships, or one in particular that we used to have control over, is now shifted to the Office of Grad Studies. So before we would have a lot more details, a lot of clues and hints as you're going to submit a scholarship application for this, do this, this, and that. Unfortunately, this year we don't really have that in, right? It's out of our hands. But definitely still take advantage of these resources. And any questions that you might have, we will follow up with the Office of Grad Studies. Okay, they're in McCarthy Hall, 112. And the hours are there, right? Tuesdays and Wednesdays are open a little bit later for those that can't come during the traditional hours. All right, the website down there is very, very beneficial. It basically has everything that we're going to talk about today on that website. All right, so you scroll around it, click things, funding, there's GA ships, right, so you can work on campus. All these things that we're going to talk about are on there. So we're going to cover 4 main things: financial aid, SAP, satisfactory academic performance, which is really, really important as far as financial aid, assistantships, right, jobs on campus possibly do, and scholarships. Again, these scholarships are the ones offered here, but some of these are offered at other Cal states. Okay. Financial aid, am I doing this or you doing this one?
It doesn't matter. We can talk a little bit about the similarities and differences when it comes to undergrad to grad. So fortunately, there is still funding as a graduate student. It just looks a little bit different now for graduate school. So I know before you're an undergrad, you can probably be eligible for a Pell Grant or a Pell Grant. Those are no longer going to be available for you as a graduate student. However, if you are sticking to the state level here in California, which a lot of you sounds like you are staying, you can apply still for FAFSA and hopefully be eligible for the state university grant. So that's one of the grants that we're going to review. As well with when you apply for FAFSA, you can also be eligible for loans. But the grant is preferable, right? Free money, why not go for that? But yeah, for graduate school, you still have FAFSA, right? But now you also get access to some of these assistantships, fellowships, scholarships that are only available for grad students. So there's also those ways to fund your education. So in terms of the application, financial,
What's CDA?
California Dream Act.
California Dream Act.
Yeah, I
So
think
for
we'll go over it in a
8540
little bit.
students, yeah. So for the financial aid, yes, you still are going to apply for FAFSA or the California Dream Act if you're an 8540 student by March 2nd. You still want to do that deadline, right? If you want to receive funding every year, so you can get funding possibly for every year.
So who submitted a FAFSA by
I
that
know, I
date?
would say hopefully everyone did,
There we
right?
go. Good, good. So some of you already probably heard good news about SUD, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So why do we love the state or AB 540 students? So this is you asked about the California Dream Act. So for the AB 540 students, so they could be eligible for the state university grant. So for federal or for state money, they can have their tuition paid for. So the state university grant we love so much because it'll pay off your tuition, right? So that's at least here at Cal State Fullerton, that's $2,000 to $3,000 per semester that you're saving on tuition. So that one, again, can be covered either through FAFSA or through the California Dream Act. You do have to be enrolled half-time, part-time, so 6 units. Make sure you're taking at least 2 classes, right?
Most of you are going to take more than that anyway because your
I
programs.
think your programs are pretty rigorous with the units, so you'll be good with that. In terms of the maximum for graduate students, 125% of graduate program units. So you're good at explaining.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just it's funny, huh? 125%. It's more than 100% because it'll cover some of the prereqs that you might, need to complete. So that's not going to be part of your study plan because, or it's going to add more units because you need to take this class before you take that class. So that's why it's more than 100%, right?
Yeah, so I was a grad student here at Cal State Fullerton. I did our clinical psych program. So our program was pretty extensive. It was a 60-unit program, but there was some prerequisite courses I had to do beforehand during that summer. Unfortunately for me, the State University grant helped fund those prerequisites as well as my program units, right? This is a good one to get. In terms of loans, you can still, FAFSA will still, offer you loans for the most part. For graduate students, the ones that come up for you would be the Perkins loan, direct unsubsidized. As an undergrad, you're eligible for the subsidized. As a graduate now, it's unsubsidized, meaning that interest rate starts accruing once it's dispersed. So before, it wasn't until after grad or after school, complete school, that would start to develop. Now it's unsubsidized for graduate students. There's also the federal plus loan and then private loans. So these are the current interest rates that are for these loans. So I updated those recently, but they are available usually from FAFSA.
And if some of you need to pull out loan, for any reason, it could be for bugs, gas, right, anything like that, especially for the field that you guys are in, make sure you look into public forgiveness programs, right? Because depending on where you're working at, they might know more, right? The staff here might know more about that as far as your fields. But that's definitely one thing to look at, right? If you're going to be working with certain communities, sometimes, they can pay back those loans. SAP, so satisfactory academic performance. So for those that are receiving financial aid in whatever form, especially the state university grant, right? You want to work on keeping it, not losing it. That's good money to have, right? Having your tuition paid for is what you want. With that being said, remember the March 2nd deadline, right? When you're in yours, basically it opens on October 1st. So even in your first semester of grad school in fall, you can, after October 1st, you can already submit it, right? It auto-populates, just do it, get it out of the way so you don't forget. Do it after the March 2nd deadline. Even if you received it before, you won't be considered. Okay, so
Especially for California Dream Act, they have like that really set March 2nd date for their application.
Yeah, so mark that on your calendar. So satisfactory academic performance is something that monitors exactly that, right? How well you're doing in school, and monitors 3 things, and you need to maintain good satisfactory performance. It's monitoring your GPA, the pace, and the maximum time frame, which we'll go into detail. So the minimum GPA for grad students is a 3.0 now, right? No longer a 2.0, it's a 3.0, so you want to shoot for B's or better, okay? For some reason, and again, it depends on the programs. For some reason, if you go below a B, it's acceptable. If you have an A to counterbalance it, again, that's for certain classes. Certain programs have certain classes that they say, no matter what, you need to be or better. Okay, so you want to definitely check with your grad advisor on that. The minimum pace. So you have to complete 70% of the units attempted. Okay, so for most of you, I think you're taking like 3 classes a semester. You need to complete 70% of the units. 3 classes is 9 units. You can do the math, right? Where you get in trouble is where, for some reason, you either fail a class, of course, which I'm thinking no one in here is going to do, but it's just an example, right? And that those are units you didn't complete. Another more probable reason is if you have to withdraw from a course, family emergency, it doesn't work with your work schedule after all, something like that. That, you have to withdraw, or you have to drop a class, that's also going to affect you, because that's also units that you attempted but didn't finish. So be very, very mindful of this. I got in trouble when I was a grad student here because of this. I had to withdraw from a course, and I didn't even know this was a thing. That's why we're here, right? To give you guys information so you were aware. I wasn't aware. I had to go to the hard trouble of appealing this, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So, all right, be mindful of this satisfactory academic performance. The time frame, the unit gap. So for these programs, for grad programs, you have to complete it in a certain amount of time. So again, Jeanette was in a rather lengthy program. So we're not going to judge her by the same level they judge someone in a 30-unit program. That's why it's program specific, right? 150 50% of the standard time frame for total units. Again, it's more than 100 because you might have to do some prereqs, but it's still being considered, the units of the whole program is still being considered, right? There's, you guys have to finish this program in a certain amount of time. Usually it's 5 years, okay? Might be some way of extending that depending on your program and the school you attend. Again, life happens, sometimes you just have to stop, come back later, but check in with the grad studies office here or in the institution that you're going to, Long Beach, things like that, right? Those offices, check with them as far as what's the policy. Okay? Again, we're just trying to make you aware of anything that could happen so you guys are prepared, right? That's why you don't really see grandmas on the news graduating from graduate programs. It's always undergrad, because there's no time limit on undergrad. For grads, if you miss that time limit, courses no longer apply, so you can't graduate, so be aware of that. So requalification in case you miss something, right? If you don't meet one of those three things, you do auto requalify if you, again, the next semester you kind of pick up your GPA, right? Go back to 70% or higher on the units completed. You automatically just go back into good standing. But once you don't meet that, you will jeopardize your financial aid, right, for that year. The appeal process. So you can submit an appeal, right, if you find yourself in this position, if you have some type of extenuating circumstances that justifies it. So you can submit an appeal, right? They review it. If they find it justifiable, you could keep your financial aid, right? They'll just give you like a probation period, something like that. So that's an option too if something does happen. Like I said, you never know what's going to happen, the things you might have to do. So just be aware you can appeal that. But however, the unit cap stuff, there is no automatic requalification, but there is an appeal process. Again, depending on the department, right? This is for the unit cap if you haven't met the program units in a certain amount of time. So it's very, very technical. This is just basically saying, you know, if you appeal, if you approve, what happens. So you'll be reinstituted. Your financial aid will be reinstated. Sorry, within that time period, right? And then you'll be reviewed right away. Opposed to waiting a whole year of not having financial aid. So a second appeal, as you see in the bottom, usually are not accepted. So once you do it once, it's expected that not need. And so again, very technical. You need to look at that process and the requirements. Just go to the financial aid website. From the Fullerton, that one. If you're going somewhere else, find their URL. And it shows they should have it online, right? The materials, it shows the policy and the appeal forms. Assistantships.
So like I mentioned earlier, now as a graduate student, you still get financial aid through FAFSA, right? Through maybe that state university grant or through loans. And now other ways to make some extra, money to graduate school is to be an assistant, right? Either to a teacher, be a research assistant or a graduate assistant. So I was a graduate assistant when I was in grad school here, and I was also a teaching assistant. Lisa was also a graduate assistant here. That's how we originally met, was as grad students working for the Office of Grad Studies under what used to be our older grants epics, and then currently SOAR. So you can work up to 20 hours as a grad assistant, right? So, of course, your focus is your studies, so they don't want you working here full time. But they want to give you some hours, so 20 hours per week. During summer, when you're off classes, you can work up to 40 hours. So we have grad students at our office who are working a lot more hours during the summer right now, so they're pretty grateful for that. Different places, so you can find these positions in different places. So for me, my teaching assistantship was through my thesis advisor. So she was looking for someone to help her out on her Psych 101 class, and so she, we had already a relationship, so she offered me a position, and I took that position. I did that for a couple semesters. For our GA-ship, Office of Grad Studies was looking for someone who could do some data, so they kind of sent an email out to different programs who would be comfortable working with data, and then I applied for that. So you can hear about these positions differently, either through someone you know, right, networking, right, either with a professor or someone in an office. You can go search for them. We have students who come to our office all the time asking, are you looking for grad assistants right now? So when we are, we give them the application. It's posted in different places. So next week, I believe there's going to be a presentation from Office of Grad Studies. We're going to talk about our Graduate Student Success Center. That's a spot on campus, and we have a board there that has postings on if there's positions on campus that people are looking for. And I know that a lot of this applies, or it sounds like it applies to Cal State Fullerton students, but you're going to find a similar dynamic in whatever school you're going to, right? Again, networking is going to be important. Looking at the major offices on campus, departments, major offices, your specific department. So within your own program, they might be looking for someone. So there's positions available for sure, whether as a researcher or a teaching assistant or as a grad assistant. Any questions on that?
The minimum tax paid.
It varies a little bit. I know for the state side is usually like what they get
$12.
$12 an hour, maybe, yeah.
The good range would be $12 an hour stateside usually, and then when you work with grants for us, we pay $14 an hour. And then I know other grants that hire students that do more of tutoring. So where us, it's more administrative, helping us with Excel sheets, things like that, right? When it's more specific, like tutoring, I've seen students sometimes get paid around $60.
Yeah, when I did my teaching assistantship, it wasn't like per hour, it was kind of per semester. They would give me like kind of like a stipend for that semester. So maybe like it was an average of like 10 hours a week. Maybe I'd get paid $1,500 for that semester or something like that. So it could kind of vary depending on what you're doing and where you're doing it. And like I said, so different places that you can find these would be, you can try the Career Center. Maybe the Career Center might have some, they'd be aware of different positions on campus that are available, program advisors, department chairs, college deans, your individual colleges, departments, faculty, the Office of Grad Studies at your school. I know whenever we would hear, like now that I'm the advising coordinator, whenever I would hear positions on campus, I would send an email to students notifying them, like, hey, this, department of whatever is looking for a student, just to make you aware. But sometimes it's you going out to look for those positions. Scholarships.
So
Also
these,
passing somewhere.
oh yeah, we have flyers too, so Jeanette will pass them out. Again, these scholarships are through, the ones we're gonna talk about specifically are through the Office of Grad Studies here. So if you want more information, have questions about the application process,
These
turn it in.
specifically are more
Fullerton, yeah, I'll name the ones that you might have at a Cal State Long Beach or any other Cal State. First one, Giles T. Brown Graduate Student Travel Grant is funds for exactly that, for a student to travel and present their research at a conference. Okay, so the deadline is, there's 4 deadlines throughout the year. You can get it multiple times. Okay, you just be aware of the deadlines. If a conference is coming up, you want to submit your application before that conference, obviously, so you can get funded for it. The amount varies, right? We're not, the Office of Grad Studies isn't going to give you this amount of money if you're, say, traveling to San Diego opposed to New York, right? So it varies between the distance. If you're presenting, because they definitely want to fund students that are presenting first. They used to fund some students that, if they weren't presenting, they had a role in the conference, checking in people, volunteering. Now I think the word's getting out more on this grant or this scholarship, and now they're only funding students that are actually presenting because the need is getting, is out there more. So make sure that if this is something of an interest to you, you mark it on your calendar, and definitely look out for the new, because that's no fly, right, Jeanette? No?
Which one?
The Giles T. Brown?
Charles C. Brown? Well, that's an updated. I
It's
thought that was
updated? Okay, so then you guys do have those dates, all right? So mark it on your calendar if you're interested in that. The Yellow Bar Scholarship Program is a scholarship that started through our grants. okay? And now it's being funded through the Office of Grad Studies through state money. When we used to do it, we used to fund, which we did, right? We funded 50 students for 5 years, $2,000. And this is specifically for underrepresented populations, where you required one personal statement and one letter of reference. It's still the case, and you're still getting $2,000. They just can't fund as many anymore. That's the unfortunate part. But yeah, you have to be from that population, and the essay just, you want to talk about maybe some of the instances that you have to persevere, some of the challenges academically, personally, things like that. It's when you want to add on that resume. So look at these scholarships, look at what they're asking for, what they're targeted to, and develop your statement that way. Yes.
So this is when you get it renewed, like every semester for your time here, or?
The LMR is a one-time thing,
Okay.
and you get 1,000 in the fall, 1,000 in the spring. Yeah. Okay. You can only apply to it once, unfortunately.
Just before it was about 50 students,
Mhm.
you know, that amount.
I wouldn't know for sure, but I think they're trying to fund about 20 now. 20 to, I would say anywhere from 20 to 40. Yeah. You can definitely go and ask. They'll see if they give you that a little more. We're no longer in that process, so we didn't know. Like I said, other years we were able to see, tell you guys, this is how many are funding, do this, do that, do that. We always kind of gave nice hints here and there, but this year, unfortunately, not. The California Pre-Doc program. So this is a very prestigious scholarship. It is at other CSUs. Okay, it is at other CSUs. Sometimes called the Sally Casanova scholarships. This, again, very prestigious. It's very competitive. You're competing against all students from CSUs. Usually a campus will have a faculty coordinator for this, so that you meet with, that helps you kind of develop your personal statement, okay, things like that, because it is, like I said, very, very competitive. You get $3,000, and those funds can be used for a variety of things. This scholarship focus is on funding students that are underrepresented, right, that are looking into PhD programs. Okay, they're looking into PhD programs, and also are passionate about eventually maybe becoming faculty, right? Faculty at a CSU. This is the CSU system trying to diversify the faculty, okay, at the schools. This fits you, definitely look into it. Very prestigious, $3,000, and it also has the opportunity for you to do a research internship over the summer that's fully paid for. We had one student that did their summer internship at Harvard, one that did at UCLA, and then started her PhD program right after. So that makes sense. This Chancellor's Doctoral Incentive Program, sometimes called CDIP. Yes.
Sorry, I have a question. So do you have to be a Cal State grad student to apply for this?
Which one? The other one?
Yeah, so for
Yes.
the UC Davis, I don't think.
Yeah, these are CSU programs. Sorry.
Okay, so you do have to be, because I was like, okay, I'm confused because this person is Long Beach and then they're at UCI. So you do have to be doing your
You currently
master's
have to be doing
and
it,
a Cal State.
and if you want to do a PhD program at that one.
Yeah, because we don't, like,
Okay.
for instance, here, we don't have PhD programs. So
Oh,
it would be
But
okay
to
to get
apply,
it
you
here
have
if
to
you're
be-
applying somewhere else, that's
Got
fine.
it, okay.
Yeah, so you do have to be a CSU student. UCs might have something similar, okay, so definitely don't rule it out, check to see what they have.
If anything with the UC systems, a lot of times their funding is different from the Cal State level, but they typically have more funding available through the UC system.
Especially
For grad students, yeah, because it's a lot research heavy, so they have a lot of funding opportunities. Thank you.
So for the CDIP, this is similar goals as the other one, the pre-doc program is. Now, the only difference is you do have to be accepted somewhere already to apply for this for PhD program. You have to be accepted. But they will give you funding, but it's kind of
It's a loan.
it's a loan. It's kind of based off a loan that could get repaid. Okay, that's the incentivize. They're incentivizing you to come back and teach. So the way it works is you're accepted into a PhD program, you apply for this, they can give you up to 30 grand, I think. 30
Very,
grand.
but yeah, I think that's.
$30,000 over 2 or 3 years. Harris up the flyer, right? Told me on that. But eventually that could get repaid back if you come and teach at a CSU. Okay, if you're faculty, if you're part-time, it gets paid back 10%. 10% gets paid back every year that you teach, I believe. If you're full-time, it's 20%.
So you could be getting your PhD at, per se, let's say USC, and you come back to teach at Cal State Fullerton, you're eligible for this one?
I would
So-
think, but I would check because
Yeah.
again, I'm not the expert
And
for
I
it.
think if you apply while you're at CSU,
You just have to be
you can go to
accepted
any PhD
Yeah.
program, but then you have to come back and teach at
at a
CSU.
CSU.
Any CSU, but at CSU.
Actually, I have a friend of mine, he graduated from here, but he's getting a PhD at USC.
Yeah.
And then, who knows what he teach after, but
Yeah,
they're here.
exactly. So that's exactly the goal of that program, is trying to incentivize students, right, diverse students to come back and teach. Because again, they want to diversify the faculty. That's the end game, right? That's the end goal. We want to have faculty that look like us, speak like us, that know, right, the issues of this population. Is that it? No, here we go. University-wide scholarships. So there is, if you guys are coming here on your Titan portal, there's a way to apply to multiple scholarships, all under one application. So it's pretty involved, right? You go to your portal, you can type in scholarships, you go on there. It's pretty lengthy because it's going to do the searching for you. After you're done, it's just going to put you up for any scholarship that you may fit for. And then later on, if you're chosen or something, you'll get notified. It's like you're doing a bunch of scholarships all at once. That's why it's so lengthy, right? That's in your portal. I'm going to be trying to have something similar, right, in your portal. So definitely do your research on that.
Long Beach does have we had SOAR for Cal State Fullerton. Long Beach had their own grant that they were awarded as well, because I know they developed a lot of their services for grad students. So I'm sure there's a place at Long Beach that would have access to a lot of these resources.
Off-campus scholarships.
Oh, so off-campus scholarships are these are kind of major, a lot of times scholarships are to major organizations, right? So these are some of you guys can take a look to see if any of these apply to you. Either some are going to be based on, demographics, whether you're a minority student, some of them are based, so some are based on merit, some are based on need. So these are just examples. If you're searching for scholarships, right? So sometimes your school, your department, or whatever might not have all the funding that you necessarily need. So it's searching outside, right, to see if there's any others available. So I'll give you, I see some of you typing, trying to write these down, so I'll give you some time to note that.
They have it. They have it.
Do they have?
Yeah.
Print? Oh, okay.
They have the PDF version of this.
So if you're searching
yeah.
for scholarships, you want to check out the U.S. Department of Labor, Go Grad, and Pearson's are common ones to take a look at. All of you are in fields that have scholarships that are specific to your niche. So I know I've seen scholarships just if you're pursuing a degree in social work, right? So those are definitely available. But yeah, sometimes it is looking around for those scholarships. And we'll talk a little bit later about that process of applying for scholarships.
That. Oh, this is not even running the presentation, huh?
No, that's
Is that- Maybe the battery.
It's blinking a number, but the battery's fine.
I think
I was like, I'm sorry, I'm controlling it. Okay.
There you go.
Is this the next one?
Yeah, so it's
So
exactly
you just go over.
number one.
Does this keyboard here?
Right.
It might actually, yeah.
There you go.
Alright, so what I was gonna say in terms of for scholarships, don't box yourself in regards to I want to apply to this one scholarship or only these few scholarships. There's scholarships offered in almost anything, right? So whether it's based on, they could be based on your school, like some of the ones that we're passing out, right? It could be based on school. It could be based on your field, like I was saying, there's gonna be some specific for social workers, specific to counselors or public health. So you want to take a look for those. On your demographics, so some of our scholarships are based on whether if you're a student of, you're Hispanic or underrepresented, then you can apply for those things, right? By region versus, you want to look at a national scholarship, like maybe the Fulbright, or is it more of a state or region scholarship? Or is it based on your interest and hobby? Sometimes students get scholarships because they're active skiers and their scholarship is your skier, right? So there's a lot of scholarships available. It is just kind of broadening your search to some of these. Some just tips is, of course, you want to be smart about what you do. So a lot of these scholarships will ask a lot of the similar questions. So you don't want to be writing, your personal statement or answering these questions that you're already answering for another scholarship, right? So try to find some kind of system where you have all the scholarships you're applying for, their due dates, what they need, and keep them stored in the same place so you know, okay, let me not repeat a lot of what I've already done if it's applicable for another scholarship, right? One of the helpful tips is making a scholarship budget. So I know if there's sometimes things that you need for your application that cost some money. So maybe submitting your application doesn't cost money, but if the scholarship requires you to submit some transcripts, then paying for that transcript might take some funds, right? So you want to document that again on the spreadsheet to see, okay, I need 5 official transcripts for my undergrad. I need to pay for that, right? So that's some little hints for you, or some little tips. Read the application guidelines, requirements carefully. Like Luce was saying, with the Eleanor scholarship, we used to be really helpful in kind of helping and providing those tips on what you really need to address in your personal statement. But when it comes to any of these other scholarships, just make sure that you're answering all the questions. We don't suggest that you skip any or that you try to combine some of the questions asked, right? Read it carefully, and we always suggest that you have some kind of faculty member or just someone else that would be a good representative for reading these things to review it before you submit it. Update your documents, so you want to make sure your resume is up to date if that's something you're submitting with your application, your transcripts, your standardized tests, financial history, your basic, your personal statement. So focus on areas in your life that matches the scholarship's purpose. Again, have someone read it over and answer all the questions that are in the prompt. Your letters of recommendation. So this was a big thing. So like Lisa was saying, we used to look at all the students applying for LFAR, right? And then we had created our criteria on who would get funded. But then we had a lot of students who had good personal statements, and we couldn't figure out, okay, well, which ones didn't get it, right? So that's when we go to the letter of recommendation. So then who ended up getting the scholarship was based on that letter of recommendation. So we had some students who had letters of rec that were pretty standard, okay, the student was in my class, they received an A, they did well, they seemed like a good student and should get this scholarship. That was nice, but then we had the student who had the letter of recommendation where the faculty member, you could tell they had a really good relationship with the student. They knew about their family life background, and the letter represented that. So if you can have someone that you have a good connection with to write your letter, it's definitely going to make you stand out when it comes to those who review your applications for scholarships. So I know sometimes we think, oh, let me just have this or whoever person write it. But if you can choose wisely that person, and ask them in advance, so faculty, you want to give them maybe a month or so to write that letter in when you're asking for them, and then they accept that they're going to write it for you. Having the application, having your personal statement, or whatever material you're submitting with your scholarship, have that available so that they can review it and can help feed what they're going to write into their letter of recommendation. In terms of key points, these are just our final points. So at least for a lot of our Cal State Fullerton students, check your student portal in regards to your financial aid. You want a lot of correspondence that they make is through the student portal. Do your research when it comes to all the funding opportunities. Again, we provided some of the funding that we have here, but there's also others available that could be open to you by every year by the deadline. And then if there's anything that's missing with your financial aid, just make sure you check in with the financial aid office at your institution. Any questions?
I know a lot of the scholarships are based on if you're already a student. So when I was a student here, I was like a ASI scholarship junkie. I got like 4 scholarships.
So how those for grad students?
Yeah, so I'm definitely going back. But this is also useful. My only thing is I'm not a student yet. I know a lot of these are contingent when you're already being their student. So what would you recommend, like, in terms of?
Most of them are.
Yeah, they are.
Most of them are.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. A little more before, and I think they're still doing it. You could apply prior to accept it, but of course the deadline just passed.
Yeah.
That would be good, but
Mhm.
just maybe look for things like that, because I was one of them that this office of grad studies definitely did open it to prospective students. Of course, you have to be admitted and decide to come here
Right.
to get it, but you could have been selected as an LMR scholar for you. Start of your program. Yeah. Maybe next year.
Yeah, thank you.
Other questions? What you guys have this year? This is the first workshop you guys had. No? Which one is this one? Third?
Third.
No wonder. Well.
Well, subsidized loans. So if you take out a subsidized loan, and there's that grace period for interest. But if you go back to school, you're eligible for deferment. So it's the interest.
So subsidized loans, you're talking about the loans maybe you took out as an undergrad? Yeah, if you go back to school, you can defer it. I would check with your lender though. Obviously, they're the ones that handle your loan. And check to see if, because it's subsidized, right, is there gonna be accrued interest while in school or not? That would be your question. Okay, definitely check with them. You don't wanna go off of what we say and then later on find out, well, it accrued so much. Yeah. No more questions? Good. All right.
Well, contact info for.
Yeah, you can contact Office of Grad Studies for any of those resources, any of the scholarships that we have. If, however, let me just sorry, no, it's okay. If, however, you do need to speak to someone, I don't know, maybe it doesn't seem like, maybe you just need some help. I can't even think of anything right now. Jeanette,
It's
right,
more,
meets with students. Most of the time it's respected, but she also could meet obviously with continuing students once you're accepted and you're maybe encountering a problem or something like that. We're very student centered, so you can definitely meet with her. We didn't bring cards because, again, we do what we want.
and a lot of our services are.
We're on the
very
website as
straightforward,
well, the Office of Grad Studies website under SOAR. SOAR is the name of our grant. We're there now. You can reach out, you can stop by. Okay, if it seems like I don't know who to go to, right? Sometimes you don't know who to go to for something. Definitely can know us, we can point you in the right direction. If that or not.
And we were grad students before, so we know what that's like, and especially to be going into it for the first time ever, and, we can help at least transitioning to.
Yeah, so for the one with the grant that you get to cover tuition, this.
State university.
Yeah, that one. Assuming that your grades and everything stay the same, can you assume that you could get it the next year too?
Yeah, they always say it's not guaranteed, like if you have financial aid, they say it's not guaranteed, it's based on funding, but most of the time you could.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as you apply, renew your FAFSA by March 2nd, and you don't kind of run into the whole SAP issues. Good, all right, thank you
Okay,
guys.
another one over here.
Oh,
Actually, I have one more question. So the grant that you guys work under is HCOP?
SOAR.
Or
SOAR.
yeah.
So SOAR under the Office of Grad Studies.
Then HCOP is a different.
All right. You guys take care. Fun in your next workshop.
Copy.
5-minute break, guys. Breathe, stretch. Or take a 5-minute power nap, that works too.
Right. instead of, it's been an hour. It's funny, I'm like, didn't know I got your grad for which one? No, like, rec center. Help. That concept of 590 per semester. Like, that you have to pay some kind of scholarship. Cover it, like, but you know, that's just in the primary. Some scholarships and these, like the algorithm.
Well, like, she was not necessarily. But only let me tell you. She gets which was actually nice to hear. Yeah. She's like, one more, we don't have experience. Actually offered her the travel therapy. And not the so, yeah, she could. If you were to use it, go back to the internship that you have to do. She's like, I used to, I could easily go back, you know, but I always don't want to do an internship now. You graduate, you know. That's like see how mine is you have to go back to change the courses and get it all. Because my mom was like, go back. So you can get those. Yeah. So that's what you're doing. Yeah. 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 So don't just even match that. Oh, okay. You can start with it. So we go back. And then you go back with that. Yeah. And like, so see, like, me, I know.
Thank you. Try to opt out. I know these Yeah, I think students with this situation will literally almost only the fine, but then they send try to fine, for your car, for like your house, she's going to become insurance, and you don't need to pay. And you're all and I think it's very much it's just a matter of getting that. And then she'll look for it. And there is a thing that she'll
So how was that workshop for you guys? Was that helpful?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I found out this program, I wish I had it when I was in grad school because I didn't know shit about scholarships until the end of before I graduated. So all the things I could have applied for, I completely missed it. So I'm really glad you guys got this opportunity. And then there's seriously so many scholarships out there. Even $300 help, $100 help, anything helps, right? Just taking the time out to do that. So yeah. I'm gonna pass this out so you can look at it again. Okay. Let me see. It's actually pretty fun. So for this activity, all you will need is a pen or a pencil, and you will need to stand up and walk around the classroom. This activity is basically for you guys to get to know each other more. I know you guys are from different programs, but everyone's going here, right? CSVF? No? Just kidding, I lied. Okay.
but you can still be friends with each other after, right? After this program, get each other's phone numbers and still be able to study with each other outside of that. So creating friendships, new friendships, okay? So we're going to play bingo, okay? So you guys are gonna stand up, and the rules are: 1, you cannot put yourself, okay? 2, you cannot put the same person more than once. And once you go ask that question and that person, and if that box is true for them, have them initial in that box, okay? And then obviously yell out bingo once you get 5 in a row, horizontally, vertically, or diagonally, okay? So everyone stand up. And make sure you guys write your names on it as well.
Sorry.
Yeah, and then push in your chairs like no, and then push all of your purses and backpacks and everything inside so no one steps on any cords or anything of that sort. Oh, you guys have your notebooks. Maybe you guys can put the paper on your notebooks if it's easier. If not, just put it on the table too. I saw someone doing it. Very smart. Okay, ready everyone? Okay, go ahead, begin. Ask different people. Ask them the question. Oh, guys, do not trade papers. Sorry. Do not trade papers. Ask them the question. That's the whole point of this. Like, hey, do you like pineapple on your pizza? Yes, I do.
Can we all go to the middle?
Yes, come here. Go anywhere. Come in here. Mingle. Come here. Come here. Go to the middle. Ask questions. Do not trade papers. And that's just ask them the question. Ask people that you have get to And please don't lie. Yes.
Do you like pickles?
Oh.
24 years of age.
No. No.
These are, that's fine, yeah. Are you the first in the family to graduate?
Yes, there we go.
No,
You're not working health here, right?
Oh my god. I'm gonna head
I do. I also think
You speak English?
Here you go. I do. I got bingo. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand.
Where did you go? I went to United Arab Emirates. I went to Dubai. I want to go there.
What's that? Yeah, I like pickles. I guess I love them. I don't know if I love them, but I love them. Yeah. I've got bingo
Hi. Are you saying your name? Yes. Thank you. Yours is even better.
They're watching. Okay, guys, we have one bingo, so he's a winner, but you guys continue, okay? So everyone has a bingo.
Oh,
okay.
Okay. Just two? Oh, okay. Right here.
It is so good.
Oh, more than two.
No, I do three.
Oh, just no. I actually never got 14, but I was working like under the table and making cash, and then I was 16 cash. So like, I was working. Let's see, I'm trying to get more, but I want to go. Are you the first time coming to grad school? I got the date and then I can I can give it to you. Are you sure? Yeah, I can check it out. Have you got any points for this reason? Are you
We're gonna have you bring it in. I saw that already a long time ago.
It's cool.
Yeah, but somebody started working on yeah, he's not too
I got Wait, how many people? 3 people?
Oh, nice.
It's almost done. Get your bingo, and then after that, you may have a seat.
Susie, what?
Who here has a sweet tooth?
Did you start working at 16?
No, that's early.
Not that early. Good. That's good. Go ahead. I have a sweet tooth.
We're all, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead and have your seat. I think everyone got their bingo, right?
I'm sorry.
No.
Bring up one.
They're all right.
You don't love them. Okay.
No.
Do you have
Literally everybody has questions.
Yes,
Is that fine, you guys?
Yeah.
Really?
Okay, I'm glad you guys got to know each other more. But our first winner was Alex, so this is for you. There you go. This is $1 million.
Yeah. All right, let's all share it.
Just kidding. It's a portable charger.
Oh, that's, yeah, we're gonna need one of those.
I'm not sure how good it is, but I mean, at least it's still something, you know?
Yeah. it's awesome.
Okay. So, we're gonna go around and then you're gonna say, just pick one from there and just say like this person, something. Okay? But that person, the person before you said it already, you can't say it again.
Oh, wow.
Until we run out. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
So, testing, you guys know each other's names, huh?
Yeah.
AF got this. If you have to ask, that's okay. You know, I don't remember everyone's names either. Go ahead.
So Angelica has a sweet tooth.
Oh, okay.
Avatar likes pineapple and pizza.
Yes, pineapple on pizza.
Can I say his name again?
Is it something else? Or the same thing?
Different.
Okay, go ahead.
Samantha try a blue car.
I used to drive it like a blue car too, and it's like I don't know, it's a car that kind of stands out. So whenever I'm like back at home in LA and we drive it, like we just get stares. Like some people just like look into it and like
It's a bright blue?
it's like yeah, it's kind of like a light like
Baby blue?
color. Yeah, it's just like you can like it stands out like
Yeah. Next.
Diana has 2 pets.
Ooh, what kind of pets?
I have a dog.
Oh, very nice. I have 3 dogs. I have 5 in my house right now because I have lost 2 dogs. Crazy dog lady I am. I have a Chihuahua Terrier and 1 Chihuahua Pug. And then one that the previous owner told me a terrier mix, but he doesn't look like a terrier mix. He looks like a mix of golden retriever and corgi. But I don't know. I can show you guys a picture. And honestly, he just looks like a dog that came out from GQ. You know. They own me.
oh, so cute. Which one is the GQ?
Oh shoot! This one.
Oh,
He looks pretty at every angle. Like he doesn't even have. Oh shit! Sorry. I wasn't talking to you, Siri.
What about the other two?
The other 2, I don't know. I just got him.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he was actually a stray that I took in.
All right.
That I was supposed to quote unquote foster, but I obviously I didn't. Honestly, if I was gonna foster somebody, the person that was applying for it, I'd be like, hey, so where do you live? What's your social security number? Like, how much money do you make? Like, how much love are you gonna give them? Yeah, I'm that person. Okay, next.
Rhonda and his husband working as an undergrad and Wilton as a grad school.
Where for what?
Math and social work.
Yeah!
And fun fact, I know, and I don't take it personal, but it's Rwanda. Yeah, Rwanda. Yeah, because a lot of people, like when I was younger in high school, I let people get away with Wanda. Then I got to college and then like professors found my name was Rwanda and they just love that it's the African country names. So they're like, you should tell people it's Rwanda. So I took pride. That's why I like hold people accountable now. But back in the day, I'd be like, yeah, Rwanda, fine, whatever.
I should learn from that actually because my name is Lonnie, but it's spelled Lanee, so people call me Lanny, Lene. I got a Tammy once at Starbucks. I got a Kwani once at Starbucks. I actually spelled it out for them too. I said Lanae, and they're like, Kwani. This Asian girl walks up, and they're like, oh, okay. Starbucks, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I should learn that. No, it's actually Kwani.
But we can't have to, can't say the same thing.
No, she said already can't say the same thing. If it's the same person, if it's a different thing, okay, fine.
Okay.
That'd be nice.
You
You have so many.
Paulina has been to another country.
Where?
I've been to Mexico and Costa Rica.
Oh, awesome.
Brittany. Should I? Oh my gosh, sure. I wish you were first. Sorry. Totally cut you off. She's getting in front of me. I should Please blame. I really want to share.
Excuse me.
I really want to share that Cynthia can play an instrument.
Who?
Cynthia.
Ooh, what instrument?
Violin.
Oh, awesome.
Now it's my turn. Brittany is the first in their family to go to graduate school.
Yay, awesome.
I have Ryan started working at age 16, according to the IRS, because she started at 14, but it was like under the table. So technically, she started at 16.
So my person's going to be Daniela, and Daniela is a parent.
Yeah, you know that.
No. She's matching your hair. You don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, Paulina has a full-time job. That's me.
Okay, where are you working?
I'm working at Western Youth Services.
Oh, awesome. How's my friend used to work there?
I don't know whose initials they are.
But it's okay, you can say it and ask who it is. Whose initial is this?
JR. This
Who's
is
that?
JR.
Me.
Okay.
Left-handed JR.
Left-handed. Very cool. If I look right, I'm sorry. I don't know everyone's names, okay? I have to look at your name.
Cynthia loves pickles.
Anybody else love pickles? Like loves, right? Like don't, not just like, but loves. Okay.
I have Kayla was not born in California.
Where are you born?
Vietnam.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Wait, we can't see the person.
It's the same person. It's fine. Yeah. Okay.
So Julie has been out of the
Where you been?
For mine, I'm Cynthia currently full-time job. Right?
No.
Someone here is Cynthia. I don't know, someone put Cynthia.
Yeah. Cynthia.
This is your paper.
Deception.
Okay. Next.
Okay.
Okay.
I think it's that has a sweet tooth.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's your favorite dessert?
Oh, sweet tooth.
Okay, fine. You can have it. Okay, I'm glad you guys enjoyed this activity. I'll get back to this thing. So next we have Dr. Perez coming here to talk to you about scholarship struggles and storytelling. He is here. Pam went to go give him his parking pass. So you guys will just get a long break. Okay. Come back here at 5:20, just in case you want to start early. Okay. All right.
Can I ask the class something?
Yes, of
Does
course.
anyone not have a portable charger? A portable charger that I just won for bingo? Does anyone not have one of those? Does anyone does not own a portable charger? I'm trying to give you my portable charger.
Yeah.
You don't have one? Okay.
Yeah, I have
You have one
two, so I
already?
feel guilty.
I do,
I'll take
yeah.
3.
Wow, I have one too.
I have 2, so, and the friends still want it.
Oh,
I have
that's
one.
Thank you.
I love seeing
Resources.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. You okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I'd like to.
But did you get the PhD?
But I had already bought one, so.
Let me know if it works.
Oh, I will. I will. I'll let you know. I wonder if I have to, do I have to.
Sometimes it's harder first.
It should have a little bit of charging.
Represent the Allied Health Academy.
Yeah, that's what I saw. It's cool. Thank you again.
I have like 2 minutes.
What do you think? That means probably.
I told them I was. Okay.
Larger part.
Okay, good.
That makes sense.
But it's online.
Which one about 17? No, 6. Really?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh my god. Yeah, but she looked like this model could
So,
yeah, this is I'm not. I want to. I mean, which one? I have the X. How do you No, I never had so many problems with an iPhone before. Seriously? I look at my mother don't have service.
Isn't that
You're welcome.
Yeah, but like anywhere else I have service. For my house, I don't. It's seriously
Yeah.
for like the Wi-Fi. Like,
I think he's going to be taken care of.
I don't feel like it does anything special. It takes full pictures on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think that's what I noticed Yeah, I think there's different settings too, like for portrait mode and like all those pictures. So I love that's the one thing isn't everything.
Yeah.
Well,
So it's not fine. Just I was we captured on wow.
I do. I randomly grab
Oh.
maybe the
So you guys do like
Yes, you don't have your car.
yeah.
And then it's like, he would teach you the
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm one of the.
So you have to take 2 of the.
Okay.
One.
Very familiar.
Familiar.
we're actually both Western Union.
Oh, really?
Oh,
really?
Yeah. So I'm like half of that. That is cool.
Oh, very cool.
Very familiar. I don't know where I've seen you.
Yes.
Maybe a tree.
Did you go to that one training last year?
Which one?
The one that Rebecca had
It's for my undergrad and to online classes.
Do you remember the name of it? We go to a lot.
Oh, okay. It looks
Yeah, so
like
you can go, it's like an
so
enroll.
we can like do this.
Yeah, so this, yeah, so any
don't think so.
one,
Some are good.
yeah, so this is the only one they.
Yeah, we had a very big one.
We're like encouraging you to take it, but that's related.
In like the collaborative.
Yeah, so you see there is.
I don't know, usually
Unless it wasn't like
bar, you have to take.
No, you can pick
Or-
any, so you
location.
Where is your location?
We're in Anaheim. It doesn't have to be this one, but.
Yeah. Oh,
And
that's
Have
Have you ever done any training at like the family offices?
Yeah, I don't need to have.
Or like through
You might have taken
No, I
Interesting.
don't know if it's maybe.
then it says like eligible for.
I volunteered at the mission vehicle.
Yes.
Yeah, so you might want to.
Your face looks familiar
Yeah.
too. Maybe I don't know. It's okay. It's not very like
No, I can buy a new one.
We're on that route. We're gonna get a new one. Sorry. Yes, because you're doing it alone, right?
Yeah, but,
Are you still gonna be working?
yeah.
Is it a part-time program?
For us, that's
The one that you
You're still gonna be working there?
I'm gonna be working part-time. But still.
But still, what days are you working?
I'm working this one week and Friday.
Okay.
So I'm basically doing like 30, 25 hours. I don't know. I might do 25.
You're like, the plan is 30.
The plan is 30, but
Once you
so
get over
after this program, I might do 25.
Okay, so
I'm doing the 3-year program. It's a flex program, so I can work full time still the first year. It's the second year that I'm gonna have to like get creative. Yeah, but one of my coworkers is in the program and she's done it full time her first year, and so I was like, we got this. But yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I'm here too.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know how far apart we'll be.
So
I'm
are you also 27 or how old are you?
Three.
I was like, did we go to elementary?
No, I was like elementary.
Oh, no. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
For this program.
Nice.
I'm terrified for but I would change this number.
Because I was thinking a while back, they don't offer all the classes. Like, this one is only offering, yeah, but.
No, you try.
Yeah.
You can get like distracted.
Because if you're doing
Yeah,
fair year.
Sometimes they
I took lunch off the
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even
I usually have to eat a snack.
If you go back and take that one, I wanted to do it. And then I just did it, and I was like,
okay, it happened. So I'm just gonna continue signing for it.
you can just that's nice, exactly. I mean, who knows, now we threw it out of the beginning, we might end up at like a training together.
Yeah,
It's gonna happen. I mean, we're doing like some community stuff, I'm pretty sure.
I'm gonna end up seeing her like every day. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
You remember me?
Not that I personally do.
I mean, yeah, this is.
Yeah. I have mine, if you want.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay, I'll give you mine.
Yes.
Then I'll just talk this.
I'm sure.
Of course. Of course.
I don't have mine. I'll bring it. So like I also have.
I'm gonna run the rest.
Alright. Alright. Yeah, so you got it? Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Well, there's. Yes. Yes, this is. What's that? Oh, yeah. This
And then I'm gonna skip presented too. I didn't even have for that long when I got my phone with the Mexico and I touched it and it presented how long. I didn't even bother going back. And I told the guy at Verizon and he's like, oh, you just read it back. And I really decent.
that I had to do stuff. I know someone who.
I'm gonna point it out. I was shocked Marshall was the best. I have to access that. I'm not sure if it's
I believe so, yes.
Oh, it's not gonna show you.
I think I'm using a viewing for myself. And, that, but I'm not sure if I can get so.
No, I'm Marshall. So that I really like this one. And this one. So, where are you gonna this one? I know. Yeah. I wouldn't like this one. We'll go to the bathroom. But it comes more. So you go to like, I know she has the package deals. And you go to the bottom. Here, where's the, you could choose anything. Because you're individual. So let's say I want that you can have one. I'm gonna be. And just say, and she'll keep me going. So you want to tell me like, it costs like. Yeah. But I usually have the one that so I choose one. Because this one, the 5x7, I might as well feel like the big one. But someone said big after this. You see how papers are 8.5 by 11? So it should be fine. It's a little bit smaller than this. No, I know. The 5x7. I guess others. Let me see yours. I'm like this one. I just and she does. Pretty yes. Bueno, por favor. In a way, but this one is something. I'm coming on Sunday to do my conversation is.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, I'm high, I know. So.
I know.
And I was like, oh, no, I just around this time of night, it's just about so. The word just comes Yes. Yeah. Yeah. They like bombarded us. Yeah. We could not forget about it. Yeah.
Yes, I don't remember, I think it's right before.
Yeah.
You know,
the laws of organization.
I
We do.
If you ask him to that, I don't even know if you knew what she spelled. Yeah. And I got scared and was like, oh my God, we're not sure. And I was like, oh, I
She's not rushing to the yard.
oh my God. Oh, you know, like, we're figuring out when this is something like this. I think pop right. Pop right, my favorite. Yeah. Cause like, okay, so like, I'm like,
And then like, yeah, she's like, we're working on it. She was like, but no, it's on the stage.
but I like
But it's also hard to
although I try not to like overdo it with them.
Yeah, so like it just got dead quiet. Like I was with my friends and like we didn't know like so comfortable. I think those are like, I like to like have sushi dishes.
Like the cardboard.
I didn't have that teacher, but like, creative writing. Or
This is that's for recording, right?
And she really connected with like sisters, and so she and she sent like a box for every
Oh, it's over here.
and they're really good. It looks like they're shit over there.
Funny.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. They're pretty good.
Come over here.
I bring back. All this hot ones good. Oh my personal.
You're good. Like, research.
No, it's Oh, yeah, that's.
Oh, I don't like to. Maybe about that.
We're not starting, I have to set something up.
Yeah. And then one other guy. Doesn't matter. Yes. Wow. Wait, then how come tutor?
Some students on the thought of what is to be. Trouble with your work. Yo. Check it out now. Couple backs. What you call? Put it up. Check it out. Get at it. Alright, go check it.
All right, everyone, if you guys can put your phones away. We have our presenter here, Dr. Jason Perez. Everyone welcome him. He drove a long way to get here, 3 hours.
Just two. No,
Okay,
just
2 hours, but that's still very
It felt like 40.
Okay, 40 hours. But we are so thankful to have him here to talk to you guys, so please give him your undivided attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me get settled here. I'm going to be. Are you recording me? You don't have to.
It would be.
That would be awesome.
Honestly,
If you
I
don't.
don't know how to work this.
Wait, but is there anyone absent today?
We have 2 students. I think there was supposed to be 2 more students that were supposed to join it this week. I'm not sure though.
I don't want to get recorded.
Oh, if you don't?
No, I do not want to, but I don't know if Pam is supposed to. Like, Erin has recorded it.
Let me just call her to just be sure. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna wait to see if I will be surveilled. But yeah, so I don't waste time in the workshop. I live out in West LA. And it's far
I know it is.
from life. It's far from everything. It's even far from itself.
What part of West LA area?
Palms. It's like right by Culver City.
Okay.
It's like right, kind of not that far from UCLA. My partner is a social. She's finished her social work degree at UCLA. But I commute to San Bernardino. Look how far, right? But I don't know what else to do. There's nothing else. It's a deep commute, but I think last time, so I've been doing this particular workshop for the HCOP program. This is my 3rd year doing it. Usually we have it in August, but the traffic is the same in August, right? I think one time it took me like 2 hours and 45 minutes. And there wasn't even, I don't even think that, I really think that there were no accidents. I don't know.
It has to do with people merging onto the.
Like that, they don't know how.
Yeah, there's 2 guys. I know, I'm
Right?
you know, the commute from like, and like, cause I come from that West LA area
Yeah.
too. So yeah, people are just like.
It's weird, right? Because you should have the skills in LA to drive. I was thinking yesterday, I was on the 10, which is like, I thought the 91 was the bane of my existence. I think the 10 is also the bane of my existence. So I was driving next to this dude, and he got mad because we were driving the same speed. I was like, well, neither of us can go anywhere anyway. I don't know why you're mad, because I caught up to you anyway, in like 2 seconds. And so he was like honking at me. Anyways, yes.
Yes, yours was a recording.
Okay, you can turn it on. Oh, is it recording right now?
I don't think so. I don't think.
No, it's totally, no, it's broadcasting. I don't know what that means. Does that mean it's recording?
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I guess.
So I was talking about
I did
traffic
something.
the whole time. Okay.
I honestly don't remember what I did.
So we're
To
good?
be honest.
Okay, we're almost there, guys.
I'm sorry.
No, no, it's